Graham, good to see you again. No midweek fixture for you this week. Has it been a welcome time on the training ground, a bit more time on the training ground?
It has, because we're reintroducing players back into the squad over the last couple of weeks, so it's given them valuable time on the grass to sort of reacquaint themselves with what we do tactically and get some good training minutes under their belt, which they need, because without going straight into the team, when you get midweek games, the training sessions are quite minimal because of the preparation for games. So this week has given us the opportunity to train everyone in the right way and sort of like I say, just reacquaint the players that are returning with the tactical elements of the game in and out of possession. So it's good to have we've more than an 11v11 available to choose from today, which has been a rarity, to be honest.
Yeah. Has there been a notable lift in morale after that first league win in a little while, or was the morale even that low prior to that win?
No, I wouldn't say. Look, there was a frustration in our morale about the results, about us not taking things from games we felt we should have, and so I never felt there was a low morale in the squad. I think we're reasonably good at keeping things on a balance, so even when it's the other way, we still keep it sort of quite calm. So I think that's important for all the different stages you go through a season. And but obviously there's a spring in the step of the players. Winning 2 games in succession, having 3 really good performances that's involved 18, 19 of that squad from starting games. I think it's revitalised the competition for places with the players coming back, and them all showing that they can help the team win games. So it's been a positive week for us.
Have you been able to welcome back Tyreek Wright onto the training field?
Yeah, he's been with us. He part last week before the weekend, but trained fully today. So today was his first full proper session. That there was no management stage with him, and he felt good at the end. So I think there's still a few more sessions needed under his belt to make sure he's back to his best. But it's great to have him, and when we're looking at the team, we've got competition in every single position right now. I know there's a bit of match fitness that some of the lads need and sharpness, but they're all out there on the training pitch. So it's really good to see. It's been a long time, probably since the first maybe 3 weeks into the season that we've not been in this stage. So we still got to be careful with certain individuals because they haven't had enough game time or training time to actually be out in the clear. But it's just good to have them back with us.
Does it at all change your dynamic with the squad on the training field when you're down to bare bones in some positions and that is the player that's going to be there because we haven't got any other competition, whereas now you have that full assortment, you have that competition? Does it change the way that you go about your messaging and how you approach that competition?
A little bit, because you can't invent competition if everyone's in the treatment table, so players are not stupid. They can look around and see where the competition lies, but it's all over the pitch right now, which is great. So, but I believe that the real winners, the ones who can compete, don't need that competition, or when it does come along, they still back themselves to rise above it, to be the best of that competition. And I think we've got a lot of players that are good like that. There's other individuals that happen all the way through football where the nervousness of competition doesn't bring out the best of them. But I think the majority of players that end up winning, end up being successful, they're the ones that can take on competition and sort of overcome it, or if they're second in line, then show the attributes to eventually win. And I think the higher the competition level in our squad is, I think they'll be better prepared for the games that we play, because obviously everyone wants to beat us as much as we want to beat them.
With the numbers that are now available to you, touch wood, has that offered any clarity or change in direction towards how you approach January?
No, because I think we, even a month ago, we probably knew who was going to be back. I think Tyreek's a little bit ahead of schedule, to be honest, and Kieran was, but we expect him to be around this period now. So we always knew once we got into January, with a fair wind, we would have these players back anyway. So it didn't stop us, identifying where we feel we have to improve if we can. And it's not a major overhaul, it's not a massive influx of players, but there's certain positions where we feel we need better strength and a little bit more quality. So it's not really changed on that perspective. The only thing would have changed if they hadn't come back, and we'd have actually maybe extend what we thought we needed. But hopefully those boys stay fit, and everyone else does, of course. And if it does, then it'll be a slight improvement, not major overhaul.
And a similar question in terms of the very kind of subtle tweak to the system and the shape that you've gone with of late. Has that at all altered your thoughts about January?
No, because I believe we need the ability to be able to go between the two shapes, two formations at least. There's always the scope of others, but I think they've been our go-tos over the last 6-7 months, the 3-5-2 or the 3-4-3. We've recruited around that in the summer, so I think it would be, not really practical if we started throwing different stuff in there, because it might rule out some players that we value highly. So, but certainly the last 3 games with the 3 up front has given us food for thought. I think it's had a part to play in our spark of results, as in giving the players something different to think about, and they've took to it really well. But I think it suits the majority of our squad. So. I think the players the profile of players we were trying to identify will fit in both of those formations anyway. I don't think it changed it too much at all.
And are you at the stage in terms of those recruitment meetings of having now clear targets, approaching clear targets, or are you still searching for clear targets?
No, we've got certain players in mind, and we've spoke to certain players and their clubs, and. But the thing is with January, or any chance of winning, but especially January, there's a lot of players who will become available in January, which are not on anyone's radar at the moment. So you've always got to be ready to react to information that you get or feeling that you get, and something that you can do. But no, we've spoke to certain individuals, and a couple of them were really positive in the aspect of potentially joining us at the start of January. So fingers crossed that's the case, because we've got games to win right from the start. We know where we want to improve, and we know the profile of players. We know the names of certain players. So there's nothing really to hold us back than trying to make that work.
And are those loans permanent, both markets?
Both.
Yep.
So loan and permanent. So we'll see. There's one that could be either. So it's more to do with the parent club. So we'll just assess that as over the next couple of weeks, or next few days. But that'll be with David mainly sort of talking to the clubs about that. So we are making inroads into that. But like I say, it's not a major overhaul. I think now that we've got the players back, I think we've got a really good squad. I felt that in the summer. We felt that after a month of the season. Unfortunately, it was just depleted for a significant period. So all those boys coming back have just took us back up to full strength, I believe. But there's always a little bit of tweaking in every window for every team.
Yeah. And how much Paul Huntington and Corey Evans part of that January discussion?
Yeah, they're right in there. So when we're talking about potential new recruits, they're obviously in the conversation because they're right in front of us. They played in the first team. They've done really good jobs. They've shown us over the I don't know how long they've been here, 3 months maybe, that they can compete. They're physically decent, and it's been great to have them. I think we knew of their quality as players. That was unquestionable. It was just seeing where they were physically, and we took our time with them to make sure that they had enough matched training time, and time with the group so when they had their opportunity, they were ready. Instead of just throwing them in as soon as they got here, they wouldn't have been ready for that. They would have potentially broken down and would have just added to the issues we already had. So But 100% they've both made really good impressions for us.
One player I wanted to ask you about is Cze Debat, who we haven't seen for a little while. Obviously had a long run in the team, and as I say, we haven't seen him for a short while. What does the future hold for Cze at the moment?
I'm not sure yet, because I wanted to speak to him when we get into January, because it's all right speaking now when obviously the January window's open and there's a clause in all the loans about a certain window in January. But there's still games to be played and still games to compete for and still games that he could play in as well. So I think it would be too premature to sit down and speak with him about how we see the future. Had a conversation maybe 10 days ago about the reasons for him not being involved at the moment, and he took them on board, and he's shown a really good attitude, really good training effort, and he wants to get back in the team and help. I thought he'd done really well. He'd made a couple of mistakes, but everyone's made a couple of mistakes. But we had strong competition coming back in Aidan and Hunty coming to the fore. So we had to make a difficult decision. But that's not to say that he won't play a part in the rest of December. And then we have a conversation with him, because it's not just what we want to do, it's also what the player wants to do as well. So it'll be a collaborative conversation between us, and we'll see what this month brings.
Finally from me, just on to Saturday, Notts County away. I know you don't like to put any greater or lesser importance on any next game. It is the same game as the last, but what do you view in terms of Notts County as opponents, and also a team that's often been dubbed as one of those teams that will be in that promotion playoff mix come the end of the season? To get a result there would be a really good result.
It would, yeah. I think I'd put them in the same bracket as several clubs that have aspirations and real ambitions to be in the promotion push. I think they've shown that early in the season. They've slid down a little bit from where they started maybe a couple of months ago. But they're obviously around the same position as us. But I'm sure the size of their club is similar to ours. They've got a massive backing. They've made great strides in the last couple of years. And there was obviously a bit of a recruitment drive in the summer, changing the squad around. Obviously, Platty going there, Aidan coming here. So it's a tough game. We knew that from last season when we played there. It was obviously our first away game, and we had another tough game here. It would be no different on Saturday, but we're looking and taking strength from our last two away performances against two top teams, Crewe and Stockport, and we've played exceptionally well and taken something from both games. So we want to continue our progress we've made over the last 3 weeks, or that 3 games, results-wise, and build on the performance. And I think it'll be a really good game of football, to be honest. But it's one we obviously want to come out on top on.
Best of luck, Graham. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
And obviously, Notts County at the start of the Christmas period, really, in terms of games. Everyone talks about players and how much they got to play, but for managers, how do you split your time over that period? You've got the January window coming up, you've got all the analysis of teams coming up. How do you do it?
I don't know, really. I'll put my head down and get on with the next task, and that's it, and then come up for breath and go home and then crack on. That's how football is. I love it like that. I want to be busy. I want to be trying to improve every aspect of us. Obviously, analyse the opponents, prepare the game, analyse the previous game and performance from us as well. I think that's just as important as looking at the next opponent. I think actually analysing our last performance and feeding it back to the players in certain parts, which gives them clarity about what we did well and where we need to improve. But yeah, it's full on. I had a recruitment meeting yesterday after training. A couple of things going on today after training. Obviously speaking to you guys, taking training. I'd rather be busy than bored, to be honest. So I like it, but maybe my wife gets a bit frustrated at times, but because it doesn't seem to end when I leave work. I'll take it home as well, but I'm sure I'm not the only manager. I know I'm not the only manager that does that. So it's just the job, and I like it. I like it. Even if you get that quiet time, there's always something in the back of your mind thinking, I should be doing something here. What is it? And then you crack on. But that's when I get in trouble with my missus.
And presumably the players you've got coming back allow you as well to think, I'm a bit concerned how many games certain players played or something. I can now maybe bring them off in a game when you wouldn't have been able to before. Yeah,
that's the important part. That's why it was really important that we got these players back for for that reason alone, not just to throw them all in the team and say, oh, this is a different team. It's actually to be able to. I don't really like the word rotate, but we have to use the squad in modern football. The squad is vital, and the games come thick and fast, which they did in my day. They're maybe more dynamic now, the games in high intensity, but we were different sort of athletes to what they are now. So I think it's important that we can bring players in, every second game or something, and rotate and keep people fresh. Because if you keep the players fresh, it keeps the performance fresh. And whenever we've been in or down on numbers, it happened to us last season as this, and it's the same team every 3 days. It starts to deteriorate. You can see the sort of edge coming off the players, and we want to play it with an edge. We're not a slow sort of team. We want to play at a pace and intensity. So we need those players to be in the best shape possible. And so it's really good that we've, and I've just spoke to the squad about that. If you look around how strong the squad looks right now, so we're going to need every single one of you. Certainly over this period, but going through to the end of the season, if we want to achieve what we want to achieve, it's you're not going to do it with 12, 13 players. It's impossible nowadays.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay, mate.
And obviously, you were saying about the last two away games, you played at Crewe and Stockport. I mean, does that feel like an important sort of step forward again, getting that away form back up to the level it was for pretty much most of last season?
Yeah, it is. I think I'm not going to use the word I don't like using, but I think we've been on the wrong end of a couple of fine margins in away games. I thought the Colchester game we should have won, but 10 minutes of injury time and all that sort of thing, and then a set piece at the end. I think the Fleetwood game, we gave a poor penalty away, but after that we dominated the game. We've had 2 red cards in recent away games, one in the cup, one in the league, which has obviously hurt us, as in results-wise, not performance. Certainly against Crewe, the performance stayed the same, but probably diminished our ability to win the game. So I think the last 2 away games, the Crewe and the Stockport game, have validated the work the players have done in the other games, but we just had to just tweak and just improve slightly to make sure that margin dropped on our side, and that's what we did at obviously Stockport. I mean, we could have won by more in that game, but you see on Saturday we were defensively exceptional. I thought there were no opportunities given away, no shots from inside our box from the opponent, and that's down to the work the players have done on the training pitch, and then take it into the game. So I don't think we've been overpowered or outplayed by any of these opponents away from home. We've just not had those, probably maybe the personnel to make sure those fine margins, but I do believe we should have took more points from the games we did. But those games in the past, but we've got a lot of games in the future to go and win, and starting from Saturday.
As a player, when you get those little things that go against you, as you say, like the 99th minute goal and sendings off, do you sort of perhaps go into another away game almost in the back of your mind thinking, I'm sure something's going to happen at the moment, because it's been happening the last few. So in a sense, getting over that hurdle, perhaps for the last 2, as you say, people say, we're playing well enough to get results, and we're getting the results with it. Yeah,
it can sneak into your mind, and then if you use that word that I was going to say, that unlucky word, it's not luck. It was us that gave the penalty away. It was us that gave the red cards. I've got an issue with, because I don't think we did anything particularly that warranted those. Certainly when I'm seeing challenges and things go on in other games pre and post that match, so it's difficult to address that. But there is certain things we can help ourselves with in that aspect. The equaliser against Colchester, there was bits in the build up to that we could have done better. So I'd rather us not be whinging about fate or anything like that, and actually take control of it ourselves and actually go, no, well, let's be honest with ourselves. Could we have done something slightly better there? Yeah, well, let's go and do it better. That's how I see it. I think you're in charge of your own destiny there. It gives you more control. It gives you more power in your mind to not think that your fate lies in someone else's hands or in some distant dream or something. It's there right in front of you through your actions. So for me, if we make more consistent actions day in, day out in training, it becomes a habit, and we take those into games, then we will win the games that we deserve to win. So I'm not into that sort of thinking, to be honest. I used to be as a player, and you're looking at all this superstitious crap, and it's rubbish. It's all in your actions. So for me, we have to go there and make it happen.